it's Nicole and Rue. Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I have some new polishes from China Glaze. For whatever reason, China Glaze is still not releasing an actual collection, but we have some new polishes, so I'm trying not to complain.
Sure, Jan.
In case you missed my last couple of China Glaze videos, China Glaze did a rebrand for their polishes. They did a slight update to their bottle. They now have a rounded paddle brush. Also, I've got animals here and they're making noise, so ignore please. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be titling this video New China Glaze Ulta Exclusives, but just note, these are not at all exclusive to Ulta. The lies! The lies! I actually purchased all these polishes from Head to Toe Beauty, so I have 11 polishes total. These are actually going to be super duper interesting for my China Glaze fans. There are a mixture of holographics, flakies, reflective glitters, and some sheer shimmers. I am currently a shimmer hater, so like ignore me for not being super impressed by shimmers, but like this is gonna be a really cool release. I'll have some links in the description box where I know for sure where you can get these particular polishes. So let's just get right into the video because I'm gonna be rambling up a storm. So we're gonna start out with the toppers in this release because I can. The first polish up is called DM for Drama. Also, the names in this collection are kind of... So the description that I'm seeing for this one is a clear base with a multicolored chunky glitter. So DM for Drama had a pretty good formula. It was a little bit on the thicker side, but what I expected. So I personally would describe this one as a clear base glitter topper. The flakes in here, I had initially thought that these were gonna be like true flakies. I found in application as well as in removal, they behave more like kind of glitter than they do like a traditional flaky. If you're used to flakies from like indie and boutique brands, these behave more kind of like a glitter, so they do dry down fairly textured and they will make removal fairly difficult. From what I can gather, it does seem like there are at least two different types of flakies in here. There's one that has kind of like a gold, green, blue color shift, and then another one that's more of like a pinky purple color shift. There also seems to be a very delicate pink shimmer in this particular polish. So because this one isn't a clear base, you can choose to wear it in whatever ways you want over a base color of whatever color you want. But as is typical for like these kind of like iridescent kind of things, the color you put this one over is for sure going to kind of like change the way the flakies look. So I feel like for shades like this, darker colors are going to look best in my personal opinion, but you could do whatever you want with it. For my full-hand swatches, I'm going to be showing this one in one coat over a couple of different colors. I admittedly, once I realized that this was kind of more like a glitter than a flaky, I kind of lost all desire to try to build this one up because I knew removal was going to be really annoying. So I didn't try to build this one up, but if you did build this one up, even after 3 coats, you're still going to have very obvious visible nail line with it, and it's going to be rather chunky. I would definitely recommend the soak off method or a peel off base coat for this particular polish, and I don't believe it's going to stain. I've never gotten stained from a glitter before, but I suppose there's a possibility for everything. The next polish up is called IRL Sparkle, and this is a clear base with silver reflective glitter. When I saw this one on the website, I did not realize that this had reflective glitter in it, so when I opened up my shipping box and saw this was reflective glitter, I was really freaking excited. If you all remember, a few years ago, Salon Perfect had a amazing reflective glitter collection. I don't remember what it was called, but I swatched it. I'll try to remember to put the video here or in the description box. China Glaze and Salon Perfect are owned by the same parent company, and I often find that the two brands often kind of have dupes of each other's polishes. So since Salon Perfect had that collection, I've just been lying in wait for China Glaze to come out with a reflective glitter. And so I'm really freaking excited that they finally do. IRL Sparkle had a fantastic formula. I expected this one to be significantly thicker than it ended up being. I did not find it to be overly thick at all. Years ago, I found reflective glitter polishes have kind of like a wet sand kind of application. If you just picture like dipping your brush in wet sand and trying to brush it on, it felt like wet sand. This did not have that at all. I feel like the amount of glitter you get on your nail in one coat, it's a very like light dusting of reflective glitter. It's definitely super bright and reflective and looks absolutely amazing. It's not so dense that you're gonna like lose whatever base you have underneath of this one. So you can for sure wear this one over whatever color you want, even like nail art as well, you could put this on top of. Because this is reflective glitter, it is indeed gonna dry down fairly textured. I was pleasantly surprised to find that one layer of my Seche V top coat, which is the kind of gel-like top coat that Seche Vite does. Smooth these out perfectly. I did not find them to be like super duper thirsty. And I think it's because they put just the right amount of reflective glitter in here where you get like a nice sparkle of reflective glitter, but you don't get quite the super gritty texturedness. But this does dry down gritty and textured, but not as gritty and textured as some of my other reflective glitter top coats. So for my swatches, I'm showing this one in 1 coat over Midnight Draft. I believe I did 1 coat over a black cream. And I think I also built this one up in 3 coats. I literally swatched this yesterday and I don't remember anything. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I love the concept of this being like at the drugstores and people getting reflective glitter polishes now. But if you are new to reflective glitter polishes, reflective glitter tends to be a bit more kind of sharp than your typical glitter. So removal for this particular kind of polish, you're for sure going to want to use the soak off method or a peel off base coat. Do not scrub off reflective glitter. You will definitely scratch your nail plate. Is scratching your nail plate like the most worst thing ever and you're going to like have your nails fall off? No, it's not that big of a deal. But you don't want to be like doing it super regularly because you can't heal your nails because they're dead. You have to wait for it to grow out. So treat your nails kindly and use the soak off method or a peel off base coat. The next polish up is called Midnight Draft. I don't have a description for this particular one, so I'm going to be describing it as kind of like a slightly darker toned purple holographic base with a pink shimmer. Midnight Draft had a fantastic formula, slightly on the thicker side. This is indeed going to be one of those purple shades that is just like a little bit funky.
A smelly smell that smells smelly.
So now that I'm waving the bottle around, I am now noticing that the shimmer in here has a pink to gold color shift. I do not recall seeing a pink to gold color shift on my nail. I'm gonna go over my footage before this gets posted. So if I do in fact see the gold shift on my nails, I'm looking over my footage, I will update. But in person, I was just seeing pink, but we'll see what my camera picked up. I think Midnight Draft is going to be a 2 to 3 coater depending on your own personal preference. For my swatches, I swatched this one out in 2 coats. I did have a little bit of nail line with it when I brought it out into natural lighting, but it wasn't enough nail line that I would say that like, I definitely needed to have a 3rd coat. It was like just enough to see that it was there, but not enough to bother me personally. I found coverage to be super, super even. The holographic in here is more of like a linear holographic. It is not like the tightest linear hollow rainbow that I've ever seen. Like I would say if I had to rate the hollowiness of this particular shade on a scale of 1 to 10, I probably would give it like a solid 7, but definitely a really good holographic, especially for the price point. Because this is a linear holographic pigment polish, it's not going to dry down texture like a glitter would. Removal is going to be very easy, but on the more messy side if you choose to scrub this one off. And while I did not personally experience any staining with this shade, I just feel like I should just caution against staining all the same. We are going to follow that one up with another purple hollow because yeah, I wanted to compare the 2 side by side. So the next polish up is called Slay Delivered. I'm gonna put this in kind of like the medium purple color family. I feel like on the nail, I swear it had kind of like almost like a periwinkle lean to it, but I feel like it's purple. Jesus, the descriptions, Nicole. You know when someone describes a purple as a periwinkle? I feel like that's this. It is a purple that could be described as a periwinkle, but I still want to call it purple.
That just makes no sense.
Slay Delivered had a pretty good formula, but it was definitely like thick and gloopy. I did need to add some nail polish thinner to it. Once I added the thinner, it applied perfectly for me. So yeah, like I wouldn't say the formula was bad just because it needed thinner. Polish needs thinner eventually. I did find that even though this one was kind of like thick and gloopy initially, it did still apply a bit more sheer than some of the other holographics in this release. Collection, whatever we want to call it. I think this is likely going to be a solid 3 coater. Like it just did not quite reach enough opacity to please me in 2 coats. The holographic in here was about the same level as the other holographics in this release. This is going to look fantastic in like bright direct lighting. Again, I would rate it like a 7 maybe on the how holographic is this scale. Like currently in my studio lighting, I am seeing absolutely no rainbows, but like this does have a really good hollow in it. My fully on swatches show Slay Delivered in 3 coats plus glossy top coat. Linear holographic pigment dries down very dull, so you will for sure want some glossy top coat to bring life back to the polish, but removal is going to be super duper easy. This one just kind of messy from the pigment. The next polish up is called Mermaid Signal. I feel like if there was such a color as mermaid blue, it would be this particular shade, so we're going to describe this one as a mermaid blue. This is very much like a medium mid-toned blue, in case you don't know what I'm talking about for mermaid blue. I absolutely love this color so much. It is so stinking pretty. I am fairly confident that all of the holographics in this release have the same type of holographic pigment. The only differences between them are some of them also have an additional shimmer, and then just like the different base colors. This is not going to be one of the polishes that have an additional shimmer element to them, however. Formula was fantastic for this particular shade. It was a bit on the more sheer side, so this is going to be another one that's going to be like 2 to 3 coats depending on thickness of coats and personal preference. My fully in swatches show Mermaid Signal in 2 coats, but I will fully acknowledge I did go in for a slightly thicker second coat to try to make it a bit more opaque because I didn't want to add a third.
Bombastic side eye.
So I will call this one a 2 to 3 coater depending on your application style though. The hollow one here looks absolutely fantastic. I am so incredibly sad that like the weather was not permitting me to get this one in all of the hollow glory in the sun. There was no sun today, so no real good daylight shots for this one, unfortunately. I did not personally experience staying with this shade, but as always, if you're concerned about staying double up or triple up on base coat if you're extra zany, super easy removal, just slightly more messy because of the hollow pigment. The next polish up is called Lo-Fi Aura. I would describe Lo-Fi Aura as being kind of like an aqua holographic. Lo-Fi Aura had a really fantastic formula. This is another one of the more sheer polishes in this release, however. I do think this one is likely to be a solid 3 coater. I feel like in 2 coats, it just looks very unfinished. So like I swatched this one out in 3 coats. I feel like if you go in for a bit of thicker layers, you might be good in 2. This is very much a aqua leaning color. When I was swatching it out, I kind of had the thought in my brain that it was kind of like almost like mint, but like more blue toned. I feel like this is way too kind of like aqua-y blue tone to be like a mint, but it's a very light color. Definitely a very cool tone shade as well. And again, the holographic in here is the exact same as the other polishes, so a 7 on the Halloween-ness scale, as long as your lighting is good. If you are familiar with different styles of linear hollow pigment, this is the more kind of like sparkly linear hollow pigment instead of like a tight hollow flame. So you get both like the linear hollowiness, but also a bit of sparkle as well. Because this is linear hollow pigment, it's going to be super duper easier to remove, just messy if you choose to scrub this one off. The next polish up is called Lowkey Obsessed. I would describe this one as kind of like a pinky purple base with a glowy aqua to blue shifting shimmer. So Lowkey Obsessed had a pretty good formula. It was a little bit on the thicker side, but not so thick that I needed to add thinner to it. You'll see in my full-on swatches that China Glaze does label this one as being a sheer, so I did find that even when built up in 3 coats with this particular shade, I did indeed still have visible nail line with it. This one applies fairly evenly, so I do feel like you could potentially use this as a topper or even just wear it in 2 coats if you want like a really sheer look on the nail. I really appreciate that China Glaze did in fact go a bit more sheer with the base on this one, because I feel like it actually lets the shimmer in here stand out quite a bit more. I feel like for mainstream brands, I feel like they usually go for more opacity and less like intense shimmer. And this had like a really good like intensity on the shimmer I found. The shimmer did not show any brush strokes. Again, this is a very glowy style shimmer. Because this is a shimmer, it's gonna remove super duper easily, but a little bit messily if you scrub this one off. The next polish up is called Red Receipts. I feel like I would describe the base color on this one as like another kind of like minty aqua shade. It's something between like a mint and an aqua. Once again, I feel like it has like a little bit too much of a blue tone to it to be like a true mint color, but I feel like it's not quite the color that I think of as like just straight aqua either. And this one has a glowy pink to orange shimmer. I feel like in the bottle, I can definitely see a gold color shift to this particular shade, but my notes only include pink to orange. I will make a note if I'm going back and looking over footage that I can see the gold and I just kind of missed it when I was doing my swatches. And China Glaze does label this one as being a sheer polish, so I did find once again, even when built up in 3 coats, I still have very obvious visible nail line. This is going to be the kind of sheer shade that I feel like either you're going to love it or you're going to hate it. You can definitely use it as a topper, however. So Red Receipts, the formula in this was like okay. It was definitely on the thicker side. I did end up adding thinner to my bottle. I feel like I like the application of the shade a lot more once I added thinner to it. It wasn't like gloopy, it just was just like a little bit thick, and I feel like it wasn't applying great for me, so that's why I added the thinner. I feel like once I added the thinner, formula was perfectly fine though. And again, I really do appreciate that China Glaze did opt to make this one kind of like a sheer polish, because I feel like that glowy shimmer really stands out super nicely because the base is so sheer. This is not really a color that I strongly gravitate towards, but I really do dig the shimmer in here. I feel like playing around with this and throwing like some glitter on top of it, I could really mess with it. This does dry down very dull on its own, so you will for sure want some glossy top coat with it, but super easy removal, just a little bit messy from the shimmer. And the final shimmer in the release, we have Soft Launch, and I would describe this one as a hot pink with a kind of blue tone shimmer. So I think the base on this is indeed like a pink shimmer base, and then there's an additional blue shimmer in here as well. Like, I feel like everything about this is very shimmery, and it's not just the blue shimmer. This is another one that China Glaze does describe as being sheer as labeled on the bottle, which I'm really digging that they're labeling the bottles like this. The shimmer in here is not quite pearly. I feel like the last couple of shimmers that we just saw had a very kind of like glowy shimmer. This doesn't have quite as glowy of a shimmer, but that blue flash pops really nicely in the pink base. This one is another one that is very sheer, so I did indeed have visible nail line with it. You could for sure wear this one as a topper if you really want. My full hand swatches show Soft Launch in 3 coats on its own. Super easy removal. The next polish up is called Shadow Band. I had initially thought that this was like a very blue toned kind of grayish color. As I was kind of wearing this one a little bit more, I actually realized there's actually a blue shimmer in here. So it kind of gives the appearance of being a very kind of like cool toned gray, but I think the cool toniness is actually coming from the blue shimmer. This is the same holographic that we were seeing earlier in this collection, release, whatever I'm going to be calling this. So it has like a really good amount of holographic in here. Shadow Band had a really good but slightly thicker formula. Not so thick that I needed to add nail polish thinner, but just like thick enough to be noticeable. This was one of the only polishes that I was actually able to get this one out in natural lighting. Like, I am so mad I lost daylight because I feel like these would have looked so good in bright sunlight. One thing that I did notice about this particular shade, this is going to be one of those holographics that if you use a toluene based top coat, when you initially apply it, it is indeed going to kill the holographic. As your top coat dries down, the holographic will indeed come back, because I noticed it when I was doing my full hand swatches. So for my pointer finger and middle nail, those show the KB shimmer clearly on top coat, and then my ring finger and pinky shows the cracked top coat. And then my ring finger and pinky show the cracked polished top coat, which does not have toluene. I never can say that right. It doesn't have the toluenes in it, and I did not find with the cracked polished top coat, it did not dull the holographic. But again, as you can see from my full hand swatches, there's no like visual difference in the level of holo between my pointer finger and middle nail, and then my other nails. Like, the holographic is all the same. This was the only one that I noticed that kind of effect with the top coat happening. Again, and that's a non-issue again, by the way. My full hand swatches show Shadow Band in 2 coats plus glossy top coat. This is going to be a super duper easy polish to remove, just a bit messy if you scrub it off. And last but certainly not least in the names, we have Hot Girl Update. I feel like I'm getting such like throwbacks to OPI's Material Girl when I saw the name of this one. I would describe Hot Girl Update as kind of like a medium toned pink holographic. Hot Girl Update also had a fantastic but slightly thicker formula. The hollow one here looks really, really fantastic again, and this is gonna look absolutely amazing in sunshine. And again, I would also put this one as like a 7 on the hollow scale. Not the most holographic thing that I've ever seen before, but looks great when the lighting is right. This is gonna be another one of those 2 to 3 coater shades. I feel like my full hand swatches are in 2 coats, and I did have a little bit of visible nail line with this particular one, but it wasn't enough visible nail line that made me feel like I needed to add a 3rd coat. So I was happy with 2, but definitely 3rd coat if you want to cover all of your visible nail line. Removal is going to be super duper easy with this particular shade because it is a linear holographic. It's going to be a little bit messy though. Alrighty, so final thoughts time. I'm going to try really hard not to rant.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
I thought this was a fantastic release. It definitely exceeded my expectations. Based on the photos and videos China Glaze was posting about these holographics, I really did not think these were going to be like great holos, to be honest. If you watched my China Glaze video when I swatched out the other past Ulta exclusives, The hollows on those were not particularly good. I would say these are definitely an improvement over those hollows. Even though these shimmers aren't my personal favorites from this collection or just like in general, I do feel like these were actually pretty good shimmer polishes, especially from a mainstream brand. They were really strong, glowy shimmers. We've definitely seen like these kind of pink bases with blue shimmer many times over from both China Glaze and other brands, but I still feel like that's still a pretty good shade as well. The biggest surprise of this release, other than the hollows actually being good, was definitely the reflective glitter topper. I have hoped and prayed for so long for China Glaze to release reflective glitter, so like I'm really pumped that they did. My biggest complaint about this release, however, is I don't understand why China Glaze isn't releasing just like normal seasonal collections. Cough, cough, Halloween, where were you?
And you're gonna give me what I want. You know what it is. Give me what I want.
Ever since China Glaze did their rebrand, they have not come out with like a true collection. Just, you know, these store exclusives that they have done, but not like an actual collection. And I just don't understand why. I know manufacturing and tariffs and all that kind of stuff is kind of a headache right now, but I feel like if they can like get the pigments and glass and whatever else they might potentially have to import into the country, I feel like if they can do that to make these exclusives, I feel like we could also have collections. I mean, I'm not a nail polish manufacturer, so maybe like there's a difference there. I really don't know. China Glaze is by far my favorite mainstream brand, so like I really want them to have like main collections again, but that's just me being selfish. As far as my personal top picks from this release, Mermaid Signal is definitely gonna be my top pick from this release. I just love this tone of blue. It is so freaking pretty. I feel like the hollow in here is gorgeous. I feel like the shade of blue is also gorgeous. Like just, it's mermaidy, and who doesn't like a mermaid? My second top pick is going to be IRL Sparkle. It's reflective glitter. Y'all know I love me some reflective glitter, and I love seeing a mainstream brand come out with reflective glitter. And again, like I said earlier, I have been wanting China Glaze to do a reflective glitter polish for a couple of years now, so it makes me very excited that they are in fact releasing one. As far as pricing and sale information goes, China Glaze retails for $8.50. If you shop on online like nail polish supply stores, you can usually get China Glaze down to about $3.50 to $4 depending on where you go, but then you also have to pay for shipping, so like you kind of have to do math to see like what is going to be the best savings depending on how much you buy. China Glaze does indeed say these polishes are Ulta exclusives, but again, I bought mine from Head to Toe Beauty. I feel like depending on whether or not Ulta is doing a sale, you might be able to get these less expensive at Ulta if you can buy enough to get to the free shipping threshold, but again, it's just gonna depend. Like math is not my strong suit. So again, I am fairly confident that because I am now seeing the new rebranded China Glaze bottles at like online retailers that aren't Ulta or Sally Beauty, that we should start seeing these rebranded China Glaze popping up at like other retailers that they used to be sold at. I would love to know what everyone thought of this release. Are you planning on picking it up? Have you already picked it up? What are your thoughts on China Glaze not having collections anymore? Yeah, so just let me know all of your thoughts and opinions. Before we end today's video, I want to give a very special shout out to my channel members. Shenanigans, Sporting Fans, your names of course all on the screen right now. If you would like to sign up for my channel memberships, there is a link for that in the description box, or you can click join next to the subscribe button. But as always, that is optional. Just make sure to like the video, hype the video up if you have access to that, in case anyone's curious. No, I still cannot hype videos. So just thank you all for joining me for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a lovely week, folks, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
When I get high, I ain't looking at the clock, still ballin' like Brian. Yeah, I'm headed to the Bucks, then I'm ballin' like yeah.